You really are all ears.
What?
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 10 games you should check out if you love Pokemon. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Cassette Beasts.
Yeah!
Suppose Pokemon retained its charming visuals from the handheld days and innovated upon how you interacted with the overworld. Enter Cassette Beasts, one of our favorite indie games of 2023. Rather than recruit and manage a party of monsters, your character can take on their forms by recording their moves with a classic cassette player. Not only that, you can fuse your form with another party member's form to become a completely different monster. And yes, every combination of creatures has their own unique look. 120 monsters with 14,000 possible permutations between them all. As if that wasn't enough, Cassette Beasts also allows you to romance and/or befriend party members, potentially unlocking new abilities just like you would see in the Persona games.
Archangels.
Monster Hunter Stories series. In hindsight, a Pokemon clone for the Monster Hunter franchise feels like it was long overdue. Although, instead of becoming the hunter once more, you are now a rider, who specializes in befriending and taming monsters rather than trying to turn them into a meal or a new skin suit. The turn-based combat is a lot simpler than the core Monster Hunter games, taking on a rock-paper-scissors formula. However, perfectly countering a monster with the correct type of attacks can allow you to unleash a devastating double attack, which is much cooler than the name might suggest. Whether you play the original game on 3DS or mobile, or you play the sequel released on Switch in 2021, Monster Hunter Stories will show you a good time. Temtem. Temtem might be the first largely successful Pokemon clone to launch, and deservedly so. Sure, there are plenty aspects to this game that are practically carbon copies of the Pokemon formula, but overall it manages to set itself apart by focusing on team-based combat. Every fight is a 2v2, meaning you'll need to find the best pairs of Temtem to go into fights with. With one additional monster on the field on both sides, now you have to pay attention to the turn order, take advantage of moves that buff and debuff, and make the most of each turn. It's a tougher experience than many Pokemon fans might be used to, but this coupled with the online functionality where you can meet, trade with, and battle other players, make Temtem a game well worth your time. Digimon World. Next Order. While Pokemon has forever kept a family-friendly appearance since the early years, Digimon has found a new future in being the exact opposite. Those looking for a darker story but want to keep collecting new monsters will find solace in games like Digimon World Next Order. This is if Pokemon really expanded upon its ideas and made something a bit more complex with its world. Next Order has you raising and training Digimon in a more intimate way, similar to how we had to take care of something like a Tamagotchi back in the day. To Digivolve, you need to train and feed your Digimon before you guys start trying to take on the dangerous lands of the digital world. On top of that, the way it conducts real-time battles feels fast and fluid enough to where fights don't overstay their welcome. And if you want a Digimon game with more focus on story than pet sitting, you can't go wrong with Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Monster Sanctuary. Monster Sanctuary is such a romp to play that we almost forgot we were making this video. Seriously, it is that fun. I actually lost track of time playing this. Rather than keeping your monsters to one track in progression, Monster Sanctuary gives your party their own skill trees. Every time you level up, you'll get a skill point to either unlock a new attack, a new spell, a new passive ability, or even upgrade a pre-existing skill for that monster. It plays a bit more like what you'd expect from modern RPGs with this system in place, as well as the equipment you earn and how you can mold monsters into specific classes. Plus, rewards are based on your overall performance in a fight, and this can determine what pool of rewards you'll get to choose from, possibly leading to rare and powerful equipment. There are so many layers here that you might wind up getting sucked into Monster Sanctuary, just as I did. World of Final Fantasy.
Oh, hello.
You didn't even see her? Dude.
On the surface, a Final Fantasy game centered on catching monsters like Game Freak's famed franchise sounds way too bizarre for Square Enix to want to attempt making such a game. However, World of Final Fantasy makes it work and goes beyond in making its combat more distinguishable. While you will be recruiting new champions and mirages of Final Fantasy characters from previous games, the key mechanic here is stacking. Stacking characters on top of each other can affect their stats and selection of abilities. This becomes crucial in balancing out the strengths and weaknesses of your party, especially when dealing with big baddies at higher levels. Plus, the Maxima expansion loads the game up with even more champions and mirages to recruit, as well as the ability to switch out the player character's Rain and Lan with other heroes in battle.
'Cause we can't put up much of a fight without some strong mirages.
Good point.
Palworld. In case the name doesn't ring a bell, this was the Pokemon clone that went viral after showing some psychotic player behavior. Bash the crap out of creatures to make them your pals, so you can boss them around and have them help you build and manage a base of operations. You'll go from something as simple as growing a small berry plantation to eventually assembling your own assault rifles to go and terrorize the world. In other words, it's Pokemon if a tween edgelord from 2012 was in charge of making the next game, and surprisingly, it is an immensely fun game despite how twisted it truly is. Monster Crown. If you grew up in the old days of Pokemon where people argued which color was better, then Monster Crown might make you feel at home. In addition to designing its aesthetic around the Game Boy Color games of yore, it boasts some improvements in UI to make it feel more modern. You don't have text boxes taking up a third of the screen, your map is now displayed in the lower left corner, and the combat flows a lot faster than even the newer Pokemon games do. Admittedly, it isn't the most technically sound, with monsters spawning in odd places and graphics glitching every now and again, but even so, you might want to look into Monster Crown as it's a tight package you can nab at a modest price of $20. Ooblets. Part of the appeal in Pokemon for some is just how adorable some of the creatures are. How can you not love pocket monsters like Cyndaquil, Jigglypuff, or Torchic? Those seeking a monster collecting game with a cutesy angle will absolutely love Ooblets. Here you manage a farm where you can grow plant-based creatures that excel in dance battles. Winning these dance-offs can potentially earn you a new Ooblet friend among other rewards. If farming up new friendos is your thing and you dream of a game where combat is more wholesome than violent, you can nab Ooblets right now, PC, Switch, and Xbox One for $29.99 USD. Kuni Series.
Wanna see? Do I ever? Alright.
Compared to the rest of the entries on this list, Ni no Kuni is perhaps the least similar to Pokemon. You can tame creatures in the first game, but the second game only gives you Higgledies that can aid you in combat. So what's it doing on our list? Well, it's simply because of the uniquely designed creatures you'll encounter in both Wrath of the White Witch and Revenant Kingdom. Ni no Kuni just evokes that same sense of wonder and excitement in exploring a new area and fighting brand new monsters. Plus, it's about as close as we're going to get to the idea of what if Studio Ghibli made a Pokemon game or movie. What game do you feel Pokemon fans might enjoy? Did it make our list? Let us know down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.